patch 25.6 is now out and the Kaisa buff is finally here. She'll be getting 2 more armor from 25 to 27, 0.5 more HP regen, and finally her ultimate cooldown will go down by 10 seconds at every rank. Now in terms of value, the 2 more armor will make you tank 1% more AD damage compared to last patch, and your HP regen per second will go up from 0.7 to 0.8, which represents a 14% increase. This also means, by the way, that if a level 1 Caitlyn auto attack did 61 damage before, it does 60 damage now, so 1 less. We're saved. No, but jokes aside, it's important to understand the aim of this buff is not to make you tankier when you fight. So for example, if you go all in into a Jinx, it shouldn't feel much different compared to before, since you're only tanking 1% more AD damage, and unless the fight is super close, it won't matter. The aim is rather to make the lane phase feel more comfortable, especially into poke matchups like Caitlyn, Ashe, and Varus, where even if you tank only 1% more damage, with the regen and over time it will have an impact and will allow you to sustain longer. But still, this is a really safe buff, which to be fair isn't a surprise since Riot always is careful when buffing Kaisa. And then we have the ultimate buff, which to be fair is only there to inflate the buff because it's not gonna do much. Riot has tried to buff Kaisa R for the past 5 years and it never really had any impact, and this change, even if it sounds good, won't do much. Now, is this buff good or bad? Is this the right direction? There's been a lot of discussion around this, so first thing, the big issue the champion has right now is that her early game is really bad. Even if Kaisa mid to late game is actually pretty good, mainly because Ridgeblade is that strong on her, to get to that spike you need to go through the rough laning phase, which is mainly because of Kaisa's slow Q evolution and difficult matchups. So you have overall 2 ways to fix this. The first option is to buff Kaisa AD per level to reduce the Q requirement, allowing us to get the evolution and transition to mid game faster, thus spending less time in lane. The second option is to make the overall lane experience more comfortable. Riot went with the second option and made Kaisa more resilient in lane. So yes, this is a good buff because except for the ultimate, it does go in the right direction and tries to help us in the early game, even if it's overall a pretty safe buff. Now the caveat to this direction is that the issue with Kaisa Q evolution is not fixed. This means that for the average Kaisa player that doesn't play the champion all the time, even with this, the champ will probably still feel pretty slow and may be bad to play because the Q evolution is what unlocks the fun part of the champion. Now one last thing, people have been saying that this is a safer option compared to buffing Kaisa AD per level. To be fair, that's not really true. Riot has buffed Kaisa AD per level twice in the past, in 2023 and in 2020, and not only it fixed the issue but also never made Kaisa OP. In 2023, it was static Ludens that made her OP, which was not related. Meanwhile, this is actually the first time in 7 years that Riot is buffing Kaisa tankiness on her own, because every time before it was done within an overall ADC buff. The second thing to consider is that this buff impacts no matter if you're ahead or behind. It will simply be more difficult for a Caitlyn, for example, to make her damage stick. Meanwhile, a lower Q evolution only really impacts when you're behind or equal, since when you're ahead you can go for Yuntal or Cole, and even if you go Kraken Slayer, Kraken alone when you're ahead will snowball the lane with or without Q evolution. So no, both solutions have similar risk. Okay, moving on, this isn't actually Kaisa only buff, since Ezreal, Caitlyn, and Jinx are getting pretty nice nerf in 25.6. Kate is losing some damage on her W and ult, Jinx is losing some damage on her ultimate, and Ezreal is losing some armor growth. These nerfs should make it easier to play into them in the lane and in mid game. And since these are pretty popular matchup, it will help push Kaisa win rate up. Talking about win rate, I think this patch should boost Kaisa win rate by around 1%, maybe more, but I would be surprised if it's more than 2%. Alright, build time. There are no system changes in 25.6, this means that my 2025 Kaisa guide is still up to date, with the only exception being the attack speed boots. Remember to only buy the tier 3 attack speed boots when you are already full build, because they're really that useless. But anyways, if you want more details on how to build Kaisa, I recommend watching that video. But as a quick TLDR, Kaisa best build in 25.6 is still Kraken into Ridgeblade, into Nashor, plus Deathcap and Zhonya's, or static when you're behind, or BF sword plus pickaxe plus longsword into Yuntal when you're ahead. If you want to go AD on hit, then it's Kraken Slayer into Ridgeblade into Terminus versus Squishies, or Navari into Bruisers, or Bork plus LDR into tanks. And you can go for BT plus GA or Zhonya's as your last items. Finally, if you want to go for Crit Kaisa, which is by the way not bad, especially into squishy enemy teams, you can go for or the scaling option with Yuntao plus Phantom Dancer plus IE, or if you want more burst damage, you can go for Yuntao plus Collector plus Navari. As for the ADC tier list, this was the one for 25.5 and this is the one for 25.6. Overall, Jinx is being dropped to the OK tier since she's not that difficult to play into and should be easier dispatch. As for Caitlyn, even if she's nerfed, she's still an annoying matchup, so she stays in the OK tier for now. So yeah, Kaisa's state is looking better this patch with only a couple hard matchups. By the way, Smolder, Jhin and Lucian are getting buffed this patch, but I'm gonna wait to see how these changes land before making any changes on the tier list. Alright, this should cover everything you need to know about Kaisa in 25.6, and with that said, enjoy the gameplay and subscribe. Well, Dailies. It was wasteful to use my my shield there. Goddamn, Dailies was there. Well. Nice. Okay, never mind. I thought he was in the bush. There you go. Oh, the Elise was there too, of course. Nice. Nice. Yeah. There's always a least, man. I got backed earlier. There you go. There you go. And we get tower there too. we do something top lane, maybe? There's no way for now. We're fine. Nice, really nice gank. TP from Yone. Is there the red buff for me? Yes, there is. My gosh, the damage hurt. My gosh, she hurts. Holy. I love being CC for a million years. Way too pushed, Aurelia. Way too pushed. That's for the camp. That's for the camp. Ah, that feels good. Ah, that feels good. I'm Rieto. Where is Annie? I see, I feel like I'm just gonna back. I don't want to I'm low as hell. I'm low as hell. Oh, come on, the flash. Oh, yeah, I shot back. Oh, I shot back. No, my KDA. GG. Alright, clean. Clean game. Nice, good start. Yeah, we didn't do. I mean, again, we did decent damage, to be totally fair. Decent damage. We didn't fight that much. Our team was ahead, so obviously I didn't have time to fight as much. I was just farming, mainly playing, making sure to not die to the Annie. But it's not bad damage, by the way. I was there in the fight. Alright. Clean.